What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and Zoiks. Looks like Disney's got a bit of a problem hiring the literal worst type of people on the planet. When I say the literal worst type of people on the planet, I think you know what I'm talking about. The kind that enjoy spending a little bit too much time around the playground, and worse, obviously for family-friendly reasons. You can get what I'm getting at. This isn't the first time that Disney has had numerous employees caught in the long net of the law. And we're going to take a look at that because it's curious timing. Right when Disney corporate is virtue signaling to the world that they want to make sure that kindergarten teachers are able to teach kindergarteners about bedroom activities, they seem to have a problem with loads of their employees getting caught up seeking special tender time with said individuals. Now, this is breaking late yesterday. 4 Disney employees among 108 arrested in a Florida bust. Operation March Sadness 2 was a 6-day undercover operation. 4 Disney employees were among the 100 people caught up in the sting. One of the Disney's employees, a 27-year-old man who worked, as a lifeguard at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. That man allegedly sent images of himself to somebody who was, well, way too young. Another Disney employee was a 24-year-old man who worked at the Cosmic Restaurant. Another, a 45-year-old IT worker, and then a 27-year-old software developer. 4 arrests of this magnitude in a week is simply remarkable. As part of the operation, detectives identified as available night walkers who posted online advertisements, as well as the Johns, who were also seeking out people. Detectives then sought to identify and free any people who were being forced into this activity or anyone participating in that. Arrest them, sorry. Detectives also identified and investigated adults who are engaging in online communications with those that they believe were very young. Undercover detectives communicated online with the suspects and arranged for a meetup at a location where they were, of course, locked up. The oldest suspect was a 67-year-old man who showed up literally drinking Ensure. Judd said the youngest, 17. Now, if we look at it, look, Disney employs a lot of people. Many people, okay? So it stands to reason that as a cross-section of their, staff and employment and stuff like that, they're going to have some bad eggs there. Except this has been a serious issue for a very, very long time. And every single time you have one of these dragnets happen, you have this scavenge. No wonder their CEO is very opposed to the DeSantis bill. And we see an infographic that has, I think there's a better image. This one, yeah. This one, March 16th, 4 employees, Walt Disney employees caught up. Then in August 2021, 3 more Disney employees got caught in the exact same kind of sting. Then 2 years ago, Disney security guard shows up in the buff to a sting, 124, also locked up. Then in July of 2014, theme park employees caught in stings. And all these stings, by the way, the overwhelming majority of them are people looking to meet up with young people, right? Here's from June 4th, 2015. Florida child sting nets former workers from Disney, SeaWorld, and Universal Studios. Here's another one. Investigation at Disney World, Legoland employees among 11 locked up. Here's another one from 2019. Walt Disney World employee tried to arrange tender time with somebody who was 8. Here's WCTV. Disney employees and a former judge among the 108 caught up in the sting. It's actually really scary that this many people are out there, like, just wide open, you know? It's not great marketing for Disney at the very same time that they are getting dragged online for not being supportive enough against a bill that is, quite frankly, maybe to oversimplify it, but, an anti-grooming bill. Essentially, the bill says that teachers cannot instruct their students about, tender time activities and things of that nature from kindergarten until third grade. This is something that just about everybody would agree with. I think if you went out in public, again, go to a farmer's market, a bowling league, a pub, a park. Don't go to a park, ask people random questions. You get what I'm saying. Grocery store. I bet you if you asked 100 people, nearly 100 out of 100 would agree that, yeah, maybe it's not the teacher's place to be instructing first graders about, being non-binary and all of these things. You're supposed to teach them math and reading skills and how to write and how to, work in teams and how to problem solve. These other conversations are not for the teacher to have with the student. That's just my opinion. Maybe that's me being, maybe I'm too much of a boomer. I don't know. I mean, and at the same time, you have Disney's Pixar movie, Turning Red, has a lot of attention. It's a coming of age story about a girl. And I don't know. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that movie. I'm not outraged about it. I think that people are overly protective of what is ultimately a mediocre movie based on people's reviews that I trust. But then you have Marvel coming out as well, denouncing the same bill. Exactly why do all these people want first graders to be taught by their teachers about what goes on in the bedroom? Could it be that, that all of these, that these companies have a large, I mean, look at the comments on this video. Holy cow, Disney's wokeness is catching up to them. Disney is obviously not doing their proper screening for employees. Next reply, proper screening. Why do you think that every kid going through the Disney Star program turns out to be a total mess as an adult? The whole organization is ran by creeps. I mean, Disney is part of all of this. Wake up. I would argue that, again, you're talking about probably the largest employer in the state. And so you're going to always have like a cross section of society where you're going to have, a group of people. But it's actually insane, and they should be doing this stuff. Now, some people would argue, oh, it's entrapment. Look, I don't have any problem with money changing hands between two consenting adults in order to have some tender time. The problem is that this space, in particular, the one that happens like on the streets or happens on the back pages of newspapers or classifieds or used to happen on Craigslist, you have a lot of people there that aren't really there, that they might be kind of there against their will. There's a seedy underbelly, if you could believe it, to this type of work that is undeniable when you engage in it. I would prefer these stings focus on people hoping to meet up with youngins. I think you'd have a hard time finding anyone who had a problem with it. But it's like a really bizarre, time to have this sting take place. Now, it happens every March. So I think if you look at the overall, and by the way, there's also been Disney executives who have been caught up. It isn't always just these low-level hourly employees. There's lots of people. And by the way, nobody reports on this. Again, just because, Disney, who employs 100,000 people, has, a handful of weirdos, that doesn't necessarily mean they're like seeking them out or people. But it certainly means that, like, maybe, when you start looking at the kind of the frequency that people that work there are spending time trying to engage in tender time with youngins, maybe you should be a little more concerned, at least from a reputational standpoint. And again, is this quote unquote Disney's fault? No, but it's curious that no one ever seems to report on the fact that Disney seems to have a higher percentage than you would expect of people there that enjoy spending time with the young ones. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's a literal hunting grounds for these people. And, you know, maybe Disney should worry instead about meddling in local politics. Maybe Disney should worry about, you know, screening their employees a little bit better. Maybe, you know, stop hiring literal predators to run your fun rides and work in your cafes. Sure, it isn't always easy to tell, but one could imagine you could probably do a little bit more. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.